Now look at some of the big stories that made headlines in South Africa this year. And we've heard from the Eastern Cape earlier this week. Now let's check in with KwaZulu-Natal. It's been a busy news year there. And to tell us more about it, SABC reporter Ayanda Mhlongo joins me now live from our Durban studios. Hey Ayanda, very good morning to you. If there's anyone that deserves a good Christmas break, it's you. What a year, hasn't it been? Let's start with, the killing of politicians in KwaZulu-Natal. To what extent has the killings there destabilized the province?
Yeah, very good morning to you, Blaine, and good morning to our viewers. Certainly for KwaZulu-Natal, it's never a dull moment in this province. There's always something happening. And unfortunately, when we speak of political killings, Blaine, it is incidents that really set to destabilize, as you said, the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Literally, people were scared. The killings taking place literally on a daily basis. We were not going a week without there being a killing of a political party leader, a member of a political party, or also employees, senior employees or office bearers in municipalities. And so a lot of the pressure then from the public on the government of KwaZulu-Natal and the government of South Africa for them to act. And also law enforcement agencies, a great deal of concern from the public that not enough was being done by law enforcement agencies to put an end to these heinous crimes that were taking place here in this province. And of course, this year, then, Blaine, we saw government and the police stepping it up. In May this year, we remember after the killing of an ANC activist in Pietermaritzburg that the president then visited, and he then made an undertaking that he was going to set up a committee of ministers led by the Minister of Police, Bheki Cele. They immediately got the ground working. The team of ministers that then met in the security cluster involving correctional services, involving the NPA and other key stakeholders to form a team that would then start investigating these political killings. And in around about July, we then had changes to that team. The minister then announcing that they'd made changes to the initial team and there was a new team that had been set up to investigate 126 political killings here in the province. That team has made, Blaine, tremendous progress in cases. There are a number of breakthroughs in some of the more high-profile cases, like that of the late ANC Secretary General Sindiso Magaka. They've been arrested in his case. Councillors as well. Many of the killings of mostly ANC councillors, IFP, NFP leaders and members as well. There has been arrests in those. But the team has gone beyond just the investigating of killings, Blaine. We're now seeing them looking into corruption. There's been several arrest of member or leaders, senior officials working in municipalities arrested on allegations of fraud and corruption. And I must say that we are now possibly standing at around way over 40 arrests that have been made. And so we have in the last term of the year, we have seen this team really working on the ground. They are on the ground almost every single day. We are picking up news that this team is working and there are arrests. A lot of the cases are now in court. Some of those cases have been finalized. Others, we know many of the suspects have been denied bail. Those cases we're likely to see many of them go to trial next year. So that has really brought a lot of comfort to the people of KwaZulu-Natal. And since this team has really been cracking these cases, we've seen these killings sort of cease. There has not been an incident for quite a while since this team has really stepped up its work here. And in fact, the president was here in Durban recently at the Salga National Assembly that was held at the Durban ICC. And he also then commended the work that this team and the government of KwaZulu-Natal has been doing to curb these killings. And he's saying that they're now sending a strong message that this behavior and these actions will not be tolerated. So certainly a great deal of work. And I think from the public side, from our engagement sentiments with the community of KwaZulu-Natal. Very, very relieved, but they want to see these cases finalized, Blaine. So it'll be interesting to see in the new year what comes out in these cases during the trial, what information comes out, because the people want to know, besides the actual hitmen, people want to know who are behind, who are the people that go out and pay these hitmen to go and commit these crimes. And so we're hoping that next year, when these matters go to trial, they will be able to shed light. The political parties have also committed that they too are going to be taking action within their party. If they found any of their members to have been involved, they are going to take action against them. So it's going to be a very interesting next year for KwaZulu-Natal, particularly around this matter, Blaine, and to see what will transpire in the trials. Yeah,
no doubt the team there is going to keep a close eye on things. Other stories that come to mind, Ayanda, several explosive devices were found in and around Durban. There was also this mosque attack in Verulam. Also, you covered the case involving the suspects who allegedly had links to ISIS. Remind us about these cases and what's the latest?
Yeah, well, to say that the city, it was a scary time for residents here again, mostly in the city of Durban, would be an understatement. It actually started, and I'll try to be brief on that, it actually started around February, Blaine, with the reports of a missing British couple, Rodney and Dr. Rachel Saunders. It was then following the arrest of suspects in that matter who were said to be the masterminds, Fatima Patel and Saif Delvecchio, that we started learning from the bail application reports that there were ISIS links, and the police and the authorities then coming out and saying that the information that they'd found were that this couple had ISIS links. It was thereafter, in fact, funny enough, on the day that Delvecchio and Patel, on the day that their bail application was I beg your pardon, on the day that their bail hearing was to be determined, we then had that heinous attack that took place at the Verulam Mosque. And again, investigations then, the police have found a link with the suspects in the Verulam Mosque attack, also linking the very same suspects to the series of the explosive devices that have been found, that were found in various areas across the city of Durban, but also those that were found in one of the major retail stores. Really, the city, as a result, was gripped by fear. People afraid to even go to malls. After several bombs, malls had to be evacuated. Several malls around the city of Durban had to be evacuated following bomb scares. Both of those cases blame the suspects in the mosque attack, also linking, of course, to those incendiary devices. The suspects were granted bail. It goes back to court next year in February the 22nd, and the preparations for trial will then know when that cases will be set down for trial. And in the case involving the British couple, that case goes back on the 7th of May, and the suspects there remain behind bars. And again, so I guess a lot of information is still going to come out, particularly around the ISIS link. The authorities here in KwaZulu-Natal are working with the international counterparts on that case, and we expect again there that a lot more information is going to be coming out with regards to those two cases.
Ayanda, let's move on to northern KwaZulu-Natal. Another troubling story. You guys did a report about a teacher who allegedly impregnated schoolgirls in Manguzi. It's one of those stories, I guess, that really shocked the nation. Give us an update on that story.
Yeah, very, very sad story there, Blaine, of this teacher in Manguzi, a deeply rural area in the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal, impregnating 5 schoolgirls. The community there outraged, the community there baying for blood. And what we can tell you at this point in time is that there are efforts by the police. They are hunting down this teacher who, around the time when the SABC broke that story, he then fled. We understand understand. We do not know where to, but he then left the area. The police, we all know that they are hunting him down as we speak, but it's certainly a story that troubled the poor communities, the poor community of Mangozi. He preyed on very young school children, the families there as well were very poor and very, very deeply rural community. And the community there just saying that teachers were there to be trusted, that they put their trust and their children in the hands of teachers. You know that school children spend most of their days, most of their time during a day with a teacher. And for this teacher to have betrayed the trust of these children, to betray the trust of the community, is something that really did not sit well. My colleague Vusi Khumalo has been doing an exceptional job on that story. It is one as well that we are following regularly. The police have launched a manhunt for the suspect, and so it is one, as I said, that we are following. But also with regards to the Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal, they came out saying that in fact they had dismissed the teacher a long time, and so this is a story that we're still going to be following, because he continued to work as a teacher, yet there was evidence, a letter that we saw that said that he had in fact been dismissed. So it's really a story that was quite unfortunate, one that, as you said, sent shockwaves not only here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, but across the country. And it is one as well that we are closely monitoring. Schools, of course, will be breaking now, but as they resume or go back in the new year, it is one that we're going to be revisiting as well, that community, also just to see on the well-being of these young girls and how they are coping and how they're doing. There was going to be a lot of assistance, that psychological assistance that they were going to be getting, and will be following their progress at school. But it is another story that in the new year we'll be following very closely, Blaine.
My experience is that things don't slow down in KwaZulu-Natal despite the festive season. Ayanda Mhlongo live for us in Durban. Thank you very much indeed for those updates. We'll catch up with you a little later on. Well, Trade Union